welcome for today's presentation about make results, gentimes, and some random with a very important goal of making your Splunking lighter, faster, and calmer. A little bit about who I am. My name is Ari. I'm a Splunk SCN consultant for approximately 7 years, member of the Splunk Trust. I lead the Splunk New York City user group for about 4 years. I reside in Bergen County, New Jersey, and I'm a gift wrapping expert. I'm very, very good at spades, hearts, and whist. So if you ever want a hand or you have a missing hand at the table, let me know. I'm an amateur pianist and an everyday beginner, and contributing pretty heavily to the Splunk Answers and our community forum. Our goals for today are 3 and 1. So we're all about learn and use make results and gentime for different purposes. We will learn how to leverage the eval function to play with data. And we'll also learn about the Splunk community and learn how to get our answers and contribute there. And we're going to have a lot of fun learning doing that. So how does it all started? It's actually started in a user group. And we wanted to have a raffle, but we didn't have a hat and we didn't have any paper and pen, believe it or not. So what we pretty much did is we gathered all the participants' data and we put them in a text file, and that was just painful. So then we just put them with a make results. We added it to Splunk. We created a function and a dashboard to pick a winner randomly, and that was the very beginning of my presentation that you see right now. A little bit about the command. So make results is really a generating command. It generates a specified number of search result from 1 till how much the memory allows you. And if we do not specify any arguments, it really generates just the time fields. And more to read on the documentation about make results. Gentimes is another generating command that generates timestamp results and create a couple of fields like start time and other things that related to the result that we created. And it has more knobs and buttons to play with, and more to read about it also in the link below. Why do you care about it, or why we're even gonna use it, right? So if you're a Splunk user for a while, you probably hit this regex doesn't match pattern message, and then going back to search again for the data and to try to copy the exact event, that's a pain, right? How about you don't want to crunch all the numbers of your results into a search just to find out that your function is incorrect or doesn't present what you need? Or if you just want to test some things, right? You want to learn how a new command functions. Why would you need to grab millions of events to check that? Also, another thing that I found very helpful with that is that often we want to match or find where something doesn't match to a lookup. If we don't have that in the data, we can't really be sure that our logic works. So leveraging make results really help that. Create data to work with MLTK or any other tool that we want. It makes very, very simple. Another very cool use case is that we need a result when Splunk put a message of no results found. And lastly, we can really fake everything, right? We can create whatever we would like. So plenty of reasons why, and we're going to go straight to them. So why is it good? The 3 main reasons are that as a user, you're going to be very quiet neighbor here. So you're not going to touch the indexers. You're not going to interrupt anybody else when you're running make results. You're also very free in the sense that there's no role-based access restriction, right? You're not restricted to an index or to an app or to a view, and you can create and be as free as you want. And lastly, you don't need to go back in time, right? We don't need to search a lot back. We can create our past and future, by the way that we want it. Some cons about make result and gentime. It is not a real event. We will not cover it in this presentation, and if you have any questions about that, feel free to contact me and I'll provide more insight into that. We also cannot apply knowledge objects to it, so there's no notion of source type, right? There's not going to be any tags or event types or automatic search extractions that you can create. Also, we have to escape double quotes, especially when we're using the eval commands to generate fields and data with it. And the limited for the memory. So depending on the memory is the amount of results that we can generate. Let's go straight to it, right? So the make result command, and right after this, I'm going to show the results of all of it. So that's very simple, and it's going to spit out one result with the time field. And we can add a count, right? We can say, give me 10 results. But that's also pretty boring, and we want to get some content. So it's one of my favorite books by Dr. Seuss, right? So congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. And we just created a value, right? A result, a string, and we can play with it. We can regex it. We can stats by maybe letter if we really want to, or anything that we found interesting. It's really not elaborated yet, right? So how about some metrics? So in the example above, it's really creating some values. We put them in a field and then we stats them, right? So very nice and easy way to either fake something that you encounter in the past, copy and paste from your Excel spreadsheet and just put the values in the make results area and see what the results give to you. But also that might not be enough, right? So what about if I want to do something by something, right? So how would I go about that? There it is, and you'll see it in less than 5 minutes. A little bit more elaborated, right? I want to play with more sophisticated commands to understand how stream stats work or how event stats work. I found it very, very useful with stream stats as it has so many knobs. If you want a time window or the value window or anything about that, you can really play small with make results and really see how the command and the function works, and you can apply to your use cases. Remember that I talked about regex earlier, so that's a pretty annoying event, right? It has a lot of square brackets and some pipes there, and it's probably going to take some time to really find the right regex to extract the fields correctly. How about if instead every time I need to go back and search for this event, I just copy paste it into my eval raw field. Then I just regex it the way I want it until I find a solution. That's lighter and helpful for anybody who ever hit that kind of challenge, which I bet most of you have. Well, a lot of people told me, you know, the results are not enough and my data is never the same. I want to see something more elaborated. So here we use just the gentime command, right? We create an event between the February 20th to February 21st with an increment of 1 minute. We create a random value and we just time charting the value. And it's going to create a very nice graph very fast. And then, right, there's always, yeah, but my data doesn't come every minute. It comes whenever event comes, right? So we can fake that too. What we're doing is we're just creating a random field for time and we just put the start time minus that random time, and you can do it, create any string that you want, right? A millisecond, a nanosecond, just creating and stitching and separating. A little bit of links for answers, and feel free to contribute, right? And once you see how elaborated the answers are and how nice they are, we can definitely, or hopefully it will encourage you to take that and take yourself to the forum and help others. A little bit about more advanced use cases, right? So in this particular use case, we're using the gentime to add more time stamps into a sub search to compare with data that we have currently. Another advanced feature which I found very, very useful. So if you pay attention, what we're really doing is we're creating just 2 events, and then we create the time and putting it 2 days forward. So we creating future events with the make continuous. We just put a single, we're dividing it to 15 minutes, these 2 future days. And now we can take and map things that we have or will have to that format, right? So many times I will add to that something like lower bound and upper bound if I want to do anomaly detection or something like that. Another thing, more if you are an admin. So now you can take the results that you created, you can collect them with the collect command, and then assign a source type with the source type equal attribute, and then verify your props and transforms, right? So that's pretty cool for data onboarding. You can do that instead of always taking data from the outside. I found it very useful. The collect command, I think, is only assigned to the admin role by default. So if you don't have that role, you probably won't be able to do it, but then you probably won't be onboarding data anyways. Same thing for verifying the timestamping. For summary purposes, right? When we use Splunk summaries and summary indexes for a variety of use cases, with make results or gentime, we can really play with the time fields and see and test how we want to create these before applying in production and before we really either having the gaps, right, to help fulfill the gaps and stuff like that. And I already talked a little bit about the last one, is that we're going to look into the future by creating future timestamp, and then we can leverage the MLTK or the predict command or other commands that are pre-built within Splunk for the future. Some tips and tricks about use them, the command properly. So it's always easier if you have a clear and defined delimiter that will not repeat itself in the data that you created, so you can break the events easier. In the gentime command, I highly recommend to leverage the start equal -1 or -2, right? So we can keep the results aligned with the visualizations, because if you put a date and you move forward in time, then Splunk will just start putting the events to the left. We talked about writing results to the future, which I think is very cool and can do very nice stuff with it. And then worthwhile to learn how to play with some MV commands and functions and evals as well. Now we're going to go and see the demo. So this is my very simple make results and gentime command dashboard. And it really shows the examples that I presented earlier. So let's start with our content, right? With some content. And we're going to clean it a little bit, but you can really see what happens here, right? So we're creating one result with the time field, or 10 results with the same time field, or we're adding some content. And the content is right here. Pay attention how Splunk will write the results, as here they have a line breaking with an enter. So when you create your event, if you want a single line, you're probably going to have to format it slightly different. Remember we talked about graphs and how to create random over time. So this panel really shows it. So we're creating an event 14 days ago with a 1 hour increment. We're making the start time. So these are actually the output of the gentime command, right? And it brings very nice time format for start time, end time, and in human. If we're going to do an increment of 1 minute, it's going to do every minute, right? Way more results. And then I just put the time as the start time, creating a random value, creating a random ID, and just creating a string for the host. And all the above just generates the data, right? From here, it's just about charting it the way I want it. And every time it will probably generate, right, something different, which is a very nice way to look at your data or to create whatever you want. Other tricks that I presented, it has to do with like stream stats and event stats, right? So in this particular case, we're just creating some static values and we're going to check how stream stats work. So all the here, this creates the values. I'll show it. All right. I have like values from 5 to 35 with increment. We're going to give it just a record number by counting them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to use stream stats just to see how it works from a streaming perspective, right? So the max value is 5, then the average, for example, is 75. You see how it goes across all the numbers, right? So the average of all of them is 20. The average for all the above is 75, 17 and a half. And here, for example, right, the maximum of all of these, right, are 35. So pretty nice way, right, to check how it works. And I also want to check event stats, and that's going to do also the same trick as event stats, right, which events just takes into consideration everything. A little bit of playing with two fields, right? So here we're really playing with two fields. And again, it's going to be the same idea. We're going to create a field. We're going to create another field, which is completely random. And then we just start them and visualize them. So think about what you can do with gentime and make results. Thank you all for listening, and I'm wishing you a brilliant day.